Greetings of the day, my dear friends. This is Chax. Chax once again simplifying the India-Pak problems for all of us. This is my last and the fourth final episode of the current series on the Indo-Pak relations. In the previous three episodes, we broadly spoke upon how the two nations were created, essentially based on the two nation theory, which postulated Hindus and Muslims are two different people, different nations, and they cannot live in peace with each other. Implicit in this demand was the creation of an Islamic state of Pakistan, as well as the fact that Muslims could not have progressed under Hindus, and therefore they need a new nation, and in that new nation they would always be equal to the Hindus, if not better. Very obviously, Pakistan got created out of an identity crisis. The people who wanted Pakistan had no thought of how this nation would go on and develop as time went by, and had not prepared for it at all. Pakistan got created on the 15th of August 1947, and they preponed their independence celebrations to 14th on the basis of the same one-upmanship. The mullahs, who were very obviously, or who thought they were the basic protectors of the state of Pakistan or the state of Pakistani ideology, which was Islam, got into a huddle, and they had many problems with different types of Muslims. Who is a Muslim became a very big issue for them, and first to bear the brunt were the Ahmadiyas. This led to the intra-Muslim or Muslim versus Ahmadiyya disturbances in the state of Punjab, leading to the promulgation of martial law on the 6th of March 1953. The Munir Kani Commission was set up to understand why this happened, and much to its horror found of the 23 ulemas who were consulted to determine the question, who is a Muslim, no two ulemas had the same definition. And in their worldview, everyone except their own sect was a kafir. Well, this led to the major fault lines that defines Pakistan today. Don't forget, at the time of the partition, there were a reasonably large number of Muslims who migrated from India to Pakistan. These were well-to-do, intellectual, educated, capable Muslims who moved on to Pakistan and landed up in Karachi, the capital city at that time. The Sindhis, whose capital Karachi was, the Sindh province, were naturally not too happy because suddenly they found Karachi out of their province and the size of the province kept reducing. Secondly, they found their own language being marginalized because the Muslims that came from India did not know Baloch, did not know Sindhi, did not know Pashto, at times did not even know Punjabi. Their language was Urdu, and Urdu became the language of Pakistan. So, the first major fault line. The religion, we just spoke about it, became the second fault line. Then you had the issues of Balochistan and Pakhtunistan. At the time of partition, these two provinces did not have a provincial assembly. That means the people were never consulted whether they want to join Pakistan or India. Mostly they did not, but they were forced into Pakistan. This led to the fact that they wanted an independent Balochistan today, or they want an independent Pakhtunistan today, and much smaller others as we go along. The Sindhis have also started demanding their own homeland. The Talibanism added fuel to this fire. The ISIS, the caliphate, well, added on to it. And to make matters even more worse were the economic crisis, leading to the four major fault lines as far as Pakistan is concerned: the sectarianism, the economic, the ethno-nationalism, and the Talibanization. So what has happened broadly? Number one, there is a identity crisis as far as Pakistan is concerned, and the fact that they have embroiled themselves into it themselves by bringing in Islam as the central point as far as creation of Pakistan is concerned, the question still remains: whose Islam? The Shia Islam, the Sunni Islam. Even in the Sunni Islam, the Barelvi Islam, the Deobandi, the Wahhabi. Within Shias, there are a number of other sects, but broadly two of them, the 12ers and the 7ers. So, whose Islam? The other part of the problem was that they then found it very easy to blame Hindus and by extension India for all their ills. Matters became even worse when the Muslim majority, East Bengal, became Bangladesh in 1971. They continued blaming the Hindus for it, and as a result, the persecution of minorities became even more acute. The Hindus were a scapegoat, and from a roughly 23% minority population in Pakistan in 1947, roughly 20% Hindus, it is down to less than 1% Hindus and less than 2% minorities in Pakistan. Therefore, Pakistan decided the next best thing for it to do is to bleed India from 1,000 cuts and plan on revenge, on avenging whatever ills have happened within the Pakistan society, and very obviously Islam, which was supposed to be the glue for Pakistan, was no longer the glue, but anti-Indiaism or anti-Hindu became the glue. This leads us to this current episode of mine, and here I will generally talk very briefly on the external pressures that are playing a major role in formation of Pak policy and the relevance of Kashmir. Why is Kashmir so very important as far as Pakistan is concerned? Going very quickly on to the external pressures, they say Pakistan is governed by the three A's: Allah, America, and Army. Allah we've spoken about, but we just briefly touched upon the Taliban, the ISIS, and the growth of the caliphate. The American influence is very significant. However, this influence is bound by two aspects. Pakistan loves the American dollar, loves to travel to America, to migrate to America, but it hates America. The economic crisis is worsening the situation, and it's a very interesting thing. At the time of partition, Pakistan got 19% of the population of the subcontinent, 17% of the resources, and approximately 32% of the army. Generally, nations create an army based on their threat perception and determine the size and the quality of the army. Right? In this case, Pakistan had to raise the threat perception to justify the size of the army. Very obviously, this threat perception could come from only one place, that was India. And anti-Indiaism became, or anti-Hindu became, the fulcrum as far as Pakistan is concerned. Right? We won't go into the depths of Pakistan economy, but you already know IMF, China, Saudi, they are all big lenders here, and Pakistan does have a problem here. The elephant in the room is the nuclear weapons. What happens to nuclear weapons in case Pak lands up in the Taliban or the radical hands? This is the major bargaining chip the army, the Pak policy has to ensure the Western media, the Western countries continue supporting it against its adventurism versus India. So let's get down to Kashmir now. First, let's take a look at the geography of Kashmir. Kashmir is at the high point, the source of rivers, the source of water. The 5 rivers of the Indus all come from Kashmir area. Indus is the lifeline of Pakistan. And therefore, with water drying up or water issues already emerging in Pakistan, they don't worry about the fact that the Indus Water Treaty is broadly in favor of Pakistan. They are not concerned how wastefully they use the waters of Indus River, letting it flow into waste. But they assume or they dream or they think India is the source of their problems, and therefore India will use the weapon of water and starve Pakistan. Right? So that's one big part. The second big part is Gilgit-Baltistan, which is, or the Azad Kashmir as they call it, RPOK, gives a direct connect as far as India is concerned to Afghanistan, which will marginalize Pakistan on one hand, and secondly, isolate Pakistan from China. Now, that's a fear which the Pakis have. The third, Kashmir was Hindu dominated for a very long time, but it became Muslim in the 14th century. When the Mughals came in, thereafter the Afghans, and then the Sikhs, and finally the Britishers handed Kashmir over to Gulab Singh as per the Treaty of Amritsar in 1857. This was the resultant of the 2 Anglo-Sikh wars. Right? So effectively, Kashmir is the determinant of the two-nation theory. Whether two-nation theory was right or wrong. If the two-nation theory was right, then Pakistan should be as developed, if not more developed, than India. Pakistan should be more powerful than India. Pakistan should be more peaceful than India. So everything, the comparison is always with India. Theologically, Pakistan feels if the state of Pakistan is the Islamic version, then it is Dar-ul-Islam. Everything else is Darul-Harab, which has to be converted into Dar-ul-Islam. Emotionally, the Pakistan has invested far too heavily as far as Kashmir is concerned into their slogan of Kashmir Banega Pakistan. From school days, if you look at their textbooks, any of their textbooks, you will find the entire Sindh history, the entire Punjab history is wiped out as far as textbook is concerned. The Pakistan finds its relevance or finds its history from the Arab conquest of Multan at one moment in time, many centuries back. And then they suddenly rekindle their history from Khiljis, or the slave dynasty, and thereafter the Mughals. And they are all showcased as the dominance of Muslims over the servile Hindus, and therefore Muslims are superior. But if that is so, Pakistan should not be the way it is today. To divert the attention of the masses, what else except a common fear, the fear of Hindus taking over Pakistan, the fear of Hindus becoming more powerful in Pakistan, and therefore the Islamization of Pakistan becomes the major focal point or the major glue as far as Pakistan is concerned. Right? So where does this lead us? What is the prognosis as far as the future is concerned? I personally don't see any major change. Status quo will continue. Pakistan will finish itself off or get finished in its obsession as far as Kashmir is concerned, in its obsession to match India, in its obsession to become the theological leader of all Muslims across the globe, and that sadly is not happening. Their identity crisis continues, and the question of who is a Muslim and therefore whose Islam are we going to profess is there. I won't be personally surprised if the breakup of Pakistan slowly starts. Possibly the Baloch will revolt and will revolt in great violence. If Balochistan happens, then Sindh and Pakhtunistan is not too far away. The ISIS, the Caliphate are putting great pressures because they want their brand of Wahhabism, Salafism, which is part of the Sunni Islam, become predominant and become the single part or single Islam. And the nuclear weapons and how will the West control the nuclear weapons is going to be an issue. And that is where China, US, European Union will all play major roles. Right? So then, this is as far as the current series is concerned. I hope you've enjoyed hearing me out as much as I enjoyed preparing all of this. I would love to get your suggestions as to what should be my next episode on. Should I start a new series? Or should I make a number of self-explanatory, self-sustaining single episodes? If there should be single episodes or a series, do give your suggestion. Do forward my video, like it, comment and share. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.